Hello guys, you're welcome to Test Ace IELTS preparatory class. Now, I'm Ade Phillips and I will be your tutor for this preparatory class. The goal today is to address everything on this table of contents, and I'll try my best not to overwhelm you with too much information. I'll try not to touch things that should not be touched in a an introductory class. So basically what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be touching everything you should know before you start studying. Because I don't want to mislead you into thinking that at the end of this class you'll be prepared for the exam. That's not true. But I promise that everything you learn today will set you on the right path, and then you will be able to, you know what to prepare for and how to prepare. You will know what the exam is all about, and you'll be able to avoid mistakes before, during, and after the test. So now let's dive right into the table of contents before I start with the slides. The first thing we'll be talking about are the organizers of the IELTS. Also, we'll tell you what IELTS stands for. Many people know this already. The different kinds of exams. Now, this, as basic as it may seem, can be a problem. I've seen people mistakenly apply for the wrong exams. I've seen people get to the exam hall and they are given the wrong booklets and they don't know, or maybe the wrong questions and they don't know. So these are things you need to be aware of, the kinds of the IELTS exam, and then the different methods of taking the exam. So in this section, we'll discuss the benefits of both types of exams, and then I'll tell you which one to pick based on your strengths and your weaknesses. Now, we'll go on to discussing the first sections of the exam, because the exam is divided into 4 tasks, and we'll discuss each of them. Then, I think the larger part of this video will talk about the IELTS band descriptors. We have the band descriptors for the listening and reading, the writing, and the speaking. If you notice this in the table of contents, I paired listening and reading together. There's a reason for that. When we get to that aspect of the class, you'll know why. So there are band descriptors for each of the tasks. And if you go for the exam without knowing these band descriptors, there's a good chance you won't have the highest of scores. Because even as a master's degree holder in English, there are some things I don't know, I wouldn't have known if I did not study on the IELTS, or if I did not take courses on the IELTS test. So these are things that are beyond just English. Because if it's just about testing for the English language, you probably are fine. But these are things you need to know, and you can only know if you're told. Then we'll end the class with tips on each task. What are the tips you need to apply for the reading task? What are the tips you need for the speaking task? What are the tips you need for the listening task? And finally, the tips necessary for the writing task. So this is basically everything we'll be touching, and I hope you get as much as you can. I recommend that while I'm teaching you, take down as much as you can. The good thing is, thankfully the video is recorded, and this is the actual reason I chose to not do a live webinar. And I want you to be able to watch it at your own pace. Watch this video at your own pace. You can watch it whenever you are free, and you can pause and rewind. So that's one of the reasons I did this. Okay. So like I said, I want you to write as much as you can. Take notes, because when I teach, even in my tutorial classes, I want my students writing, because one of the ways to assimilate information is to take down key information or key details. In fact, it's one of the skills you will learn for the reading section and the listening section. You must be able to take notes while you are learning. You're not going to write everything I say, but write the key things. So when you're probably going trying to remember something or trying to recollect what you've watched, you could always refer to your note and verify whatever you've recollected. All right, so let's dive right into it. First, organizers of IELTS. All right, so
we all know what IELTS stands for already, but just in case you don't know what IELTS is or what IELTS means, IELTS just means International English Language Testing System. International English Language Testing System, and it's organized by three major organizations. Or there are three major organizations. We have the British Council, we have the IELTS IDP, or IDP education, and then we have Cambridge. Now, depending on what country you'll be writing the exam, the organizers are they kind of are stronger in different countries. For instance, in Nigeria, we don't really have Cambridge. I don't think there's a Cambridge IELTS in Nigeria. What we have is the British Council and the IELTS IDP. I currently work with the IELTS IDP as an invigilator, but I'm not speaking for them in this class. If you're writing the exam with any of the organizers, you get the best results and the best experience, because the examiners, the invigilators, the teachers, they all go through the same level of training. The exam is marked the same way. The invigilation is done the same way. The exam registration is the same thing. The only difference is probably the locations and how they favor you. Maybe on the what's it called now? On our official Instagram page, I'll share the list of locations for you to look through and pick when you want to write your exam. There is one in at Egbeda, there's one at Festac. This is Egbeda or Alimosho. At Alimosho, there's one at Festac, there's one on the island, there's one at Ogudu, there's one at Unilag, and so on. So I'll share the link so you can just look through. There's also the IELTS app. There's an app for IELTS IDP where you could just check for the available centers. I'm not really familiar with how many centers British Council has. I know they have one at Lekki. Is it Lekki? Yeah, it's Lekki. So I don't want to say what I don't know about the British Council. For the IELTS, there are centers all over Lagos. If you plan on writing in Lagos, in Benin Republic, I know somebody's here from Benin Republic. I honestly do not know, and I don't want to say what I do not know. So the centers at Benin Republic, you'll have to check the app and find out what centers are available to you. So let's move on. Now, like I said, we have the British Council, the IDP education, and Cambridge. In Nigeria, we have British Council and IDP education. Now, before I move on, there's something I want to clarify to everybody. The IELTS exam is not an English exam, because one of the major errors people make, when I say it's not an English exam, I'm not saying it is not done in English and does not test your English language strength or your skills, but it is more concerned about your communication skills. I'll say that again. It's more concerned about how well you can communicate in English, because there's a huge difference between an English exam and communicating in English. Every one of us, most of us, we've done the English exam before. We've been taught English since probably nursery 1 or nursery 2, and most people think it's not just English, I can write the exam. But the truth is, there's a huge difference between speaking English and communicating in English. You'll be tested for how efficient or proficient you are in terms of speaking English. I'll dive deeper into that as we proceed, but I want you to have just at the back of your mind that it is more of a communication test than just an English language exam. Because I've seen people who studied English in the university who are good at English and they still don't do so well in the exam. And that's not because they're not good with English, but because they lack actual communication skills, which is one of the things you should build yourself on while you are preparing for the exam. Now let's move on to the next slide. Okay. Now the reasons for the IELTS exams, there are three major reasons. Some people go abroad to study, some go abroad to work, and some just go abroad because they want to live there permanently. So whatever your reason, there's an IELTS exam for that reason. For instance, if you're going abroad for academic reasons, then you write the IELTS academic test. If you're going abroad for work, you write the IELTS general test. Then if you're going there to live permanently, then I think you should write the IELTS life skills exam. It could be that you're going there to become a permanent resident, or it could be that you're going there to maybe your partner lives there already, or you have a family member who lives there, and then you're trying to move there. Then you write the life skills exam. So it depends on the requirements for the visa you're applying for. But the major reasons people go there is to study or to work. Let's say you got a job, you could be asked to write the general IELTS. In fact, some jobs would insist that you write the academics as IELTS, so they know you. Possibly you're working in an academic setting, for instance. Let's say you got a job as an assistant lecturer or a lecturer, you'll be asked to write the IELTS academic exam. Although it's not certain, but there's a huge chance that you'll be writing the IELTS academic exam. So those are the reasons for writing the exam. Now let's take a look at the types. If at any point you can't hear me or see me, please tell me in the comment section and I'll try to work on that. Okay. Justina is asking me to take something again. What are you asking me to take again? Can you be specific? Okay. Let's move on. Justina, when I get your message, I'll respond, but let's move on. So there are four major IELTS, four major types of the IELTS exams. There is the IELTS Academic. Okay, for someone going to stay over, which one is the person expected to write? It depends on the demands that have been made. If you're going to the UK, then it's the IELTS life skills. That's if you're going there to live permanently or to stay with a relative. I believe it's the IELTS life skills. Then if you're just going there to work, then it's the general IELTS general. I'm about to talk about it, so let's just move on. Let's just move on. IELTS Academic is for people who are going there for higher education or professional registration. For instance, I think nurses write this. We'll take, okay, so I don't get distracted. I see it's becoming difficult to manage. So we don't get distracted. I'll answer questions at the end of the class. There'll be a question session, I promise. I'll attend to everybody. And so let's proceed so I don't drag on for too long. So the IELTS Academic is written by people who are trying to go abroad to study for your master's, for your PhD. There are also some professional courses or professional registrations that you may want to do, and they will ask you to first write the IELTS exam. I think some nurses write the IELTS Academic exam, and that's because they are registering for a professional certification. So now the general training, the IELTS general training, is for people who want to maybe go there to work. It's generally for people who want to go there to work. That's basically what the IELTS exam is. IELTS general training is for. Then for the IELTS for UK visas and immigration, this is the same as IELTS Academic and general training, but the only difference is it is unique to UK. If you're going to the United Kingdom, this is the exam you write. In fact, there is no difference between this IELTS for UK and the IELTS Academic and general. The only difference is on your results. It will be specified that it is for UK, but the exam, the registration, everything is the same procedure. Just that when you're registering, you pick IELTS UK Academic or general. So if you are going to the UK to study, then you pick IELTS Academic. IELTS UK Visa Academic. Then if you're going to the UK to work, you pick IELTS UK Visa General Training. So it's basically the same as the others, but the only difference is that you are registering for a specific one for UK. Yeah, I've been asked before, why is it different? I guess it's just because UK is different. UK feels that they are the original source of the English language, so they shouldn't just be part of the bandwagon that they want to be separate. But the exam is the same, the syllabus is the same, the method of marking is the same, the method of sitting for the exam is the same. It's basically the same. The only difference is you're registering for IELTS UK visa. That's all. Now for the IELTS life skills, it's usually for UK as well, but it's for people who are going there to meet someone who already lives there. Maybe you're going there to live with a parent. Let's say your parents live there, or maybe your dad is there and you want to go and live with him. So if you want to go and live with anybody there, and the person has proven that they can sponsor you, then you write the IELTS life skills exam. I won't dwell on that one because it's not really something that is common. But if in the comment section somebody asks about it, I will definitely provide more information on it. But I don't want to dwell on this because our actual focus is on the band descriptors, the tips, and the myths that we want to debunk. Okay. So now we've talked about this. Let's move on. Now, by the way, I forgot to mention at the beginning that the IELTS exam is for every major English-speaking country in Europe. So if you're applying to Canada, you're applying to Australia, you're applying to the UK, you're applying to America, then these are the places that you'll be expected to write the IELTS exam before you go there. Now, the methods of taking the exam, we have just two major methods. It's just two methods, basically. Paper-based tests and computer-based IELTS. Paper-based IELTS and computer-based IELTS. Now, the paper-based IELTS just means you'll be using paper and pencil to answer the questions or to take the test. And the computer-based test just means you'll be sitting in front of the computer to take your test. Now, people ask me which one is better. The truth is, none is better. Both are very good. It all boils down to where your strengths lie. If you're a person who thinks you think better when you're writing, then go for the paper-based IELTS. There are people like that who think better when they're writing, and I advise them to take the paper-based IELTS. I promise your exam score will not be affected at all if you take the paper-based test, because that's one of the reasons people like the computer-based test. They think computer will mark that one and human being will mark paper-based. No. The paper-based test will still be scanned into the computer, so there is no problem. And however, if you think you have a bad handwriting and you are afraid of writing paper-based test, then the computer-based test is perfect for you. Now, let me give a warning. The warning is this. The fact that you're used to computer-based IELTS or computer-based to typing with a computer does not mean you will do so well with computer-based tests. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm just trying to warn you now so you prepare ahead. When you're typing on Microsoft Word, for instance, you will see that when you're typing, if you make a mistake, Microsoft Word underlines it. How many of us use computers here very frequently? Because I feel like most people of my generation and younger use computers almost every day, or phones almost every day. When you're typing and you make a mistake, sometimes it auto-corrects it. Sometimes it underlines it. That will not happen in the IELTS exam. If you make a mistake, it will not tell you. So if you're going to be taking the computer-based test, my advice for you is that from now, start practicing with your Microsoft Word without your autocorrect. Turn it off. If you need help with how to turn off your autocorrect, you can always go to YouTube, check how to do that. It's very easy, to be honest. It's not difficult at all. Now, turn it off, practice your writing, make corrections, look through, read it thoroughly, make the corrections, then turn the autocorrect on again and see the errors that you missed. Try it again. Because if you don't get used to it, you will make errors. Maybe you forgot to type N or you forgot to type L or something, do not just have try your best to practice. That's basically what I'm saying. The same applies to paper-based IELTS. When you're writing, don't just rush. Don't submit. Don't think you're done. Look through what you've written, especially in the writing test. Look through thoroughly, because that matters in your score under grammatical range and accuracy. I'll discuss that under band descriptors. But my advice to you is to practice how to review your writing as much as possible, irrespective of which of the exams you'll be taking. I hope we're still here. Okay. Okay. I still have people listening, so let's move on. Like I said, I'll take questions after the class. I don't want to take questions in between, so I don't delay for too long. Now, the test formats. Now, IELTS is divided into 4 sections. We have the listening, the reading, the writing, and the speaking. Basically, you'll be tested on your ability to pay attention to a recording and answer questions based on the recording. Most people have issues with this section, and it sounds strange, but if you've ever done the mock test before, or if you've ever been in a test where you needed to listen, you will know it is one of the hardest. Personally, when I first did the test, I was caught off guard, because I just did it to have a feel of what the exam is like. So I did a mock test, and it was wow. You have to pay attention throughout, because if you miss, if you stop paying attention at a specific time, you will miss what was said for like 5 seconds. And while you're worried about what you've missed for like 5 seconds, you will miss what is coming next again. So you want to be careful. You want to be very careful not to lose focus. And that's one of the things you will have to be trained on, how to focus on the recording. It's usually a conversation or a lecture. Now, for the lecture is actually not so difficult to listen to, because we've all been in class. Many of us are university graduates, some of us are still in the university, and some of us are secondary school graduates. Now, we're all used to being taught in class. We're used to paying attention to the teacher or the lecturer. Especially university students, the lecturers don't wait for you. Just keep talking and you have to be paying attention. But it's a bit different in a conversation. In a conversation, you're just listening. You're not looking at them. You're not seeing the people talking. You're just listening. So when you're listening to the conversation, you need to learn the skills that will allow you to identify different speakers, and as well note which speaker is talking at a specific time and which speaker is speaking at a specific time as well. So these are things you need to build yourself on. At times you could be listening to person A talking, because when you're listening to this recording, what I tell my students is that you're listening, take notes. I don't care if your brain if you have an what is it called, eidetic memory now. Even if you have an eidetic memory, please take notes. I'm begging, for the sake of your band score, take notes, because no matter how good you are at paying attention, you need to take notes. When you take notes, it's easy to refer back to it when you're answering your questions, because you cannot play the recording more than once. In fact, you're not the one playing it. There's something called a transmitter during the exam. You will be given a headset, something like this. You'll be given a headset, and it will be played for everybody at once. During the exam, the hall will be pin drop silent. No examiner will be, no invigilator will be moving about. They will stay in one place. You also are expected to keep quiet, because if anyone does not hear anything, it's your problem. That's why you have been given a headset. So Take notes. You'll be listening to 4 recordings. Now, the listening section lasts for 30 minutes. And you'll be listening to 4 recordings, each of which will have their own questions. So that's all for the listening section. Now let's move to the reading section. The reading section has 40 questions. Are you with me? The reading section has 40 questions and you'll be reading 3 passages. Now, if you're writing the academic IELTS, the kind of passage you see is different from the kind you will see in the general IELTS. The academic IELTS will be more of essays, essays about topics that you can encounter in class. Now, you will have to be trained on how to read these essays because it's usually on topics you're not expecting. Imagine somebody who's going abroad to study English or study music or study psychology, and you're given a passage on quantum physics or a passage on engineering or a passage on politics. You will see words that you've not seen before or words that are quite complicated. It can be it could be an article on agriculture. But for the general training or general IELTS test, the reading section, the passages are not so difficult to read like the academic IELTS. So yes, they have the same format, academic and general. You'll be given 3 very long passages and 40 questions. You will read the passages and answer the question. For this section, you have 60 minutes. Now, you want to, although we'll discuss that as we proceed, you want to learn or practice time management as well. Because you'll be thinking, oh, wow, 40 questions, 60 minutes, I have enough time. Remember, you also have to read those long passages within that 60 minutes. Are you with me? Remember, you have to read those long passages within the 60 minutes you've been given. So be careful not to spend so long reading, although I'll try to touch on how to read the passages as quickly as possible as we proceed. Now, the writing section. This section, if you know the key strategies, I promise it is easy mark. It is, in fact, your band 8.0 upwards is sure for the writing section if you can just apply the tips I'll give to you. The easiest section for me, in fact, I had a student who could not speak English at all. When I say at all, he speaks pidgin most of the time. When he speaks English, it's terrible. But okay, I don't say terrible. It's not so excellent. But now he can write to a certain extent just because he knows the key things to do. You don't need to write with big grammar. The IELTS test is not a test for huge words. You're not what's the name of this guy? I don't want to mention his name now. So the writing section is quite easy. Then the speaking section will test you for how good you can speak. Let me go back to the writing section. The writing section has 2 tasks. I forgot to mention this. It has 2 tasks. There's a task 1 and a task 2. For the academic section, the task 1 is you'll be given a diagram. That diagram, you're supposed to summarize it. There will be a question that accompanies the diagram. You could be asked to compare the things in that diagram. For instance, you could be given a diagram that shows how concrete is made. Maybe the first diagram shows sand being poured into it, water being poured, cement being poured, concrete being poured, then mixed and bagged. Now, when you see that diagram, you're expected to summarize that diagram and describe it using very descriptive words. In this particular section, you are being
you're being tested for how well you can describe something just by seeing it. Now, it is different for the general IELTS. Task 1 in the general IELTS, you'll be asked to write a letter. If you're writing general IELTS, you'll be writing a letter. It could be formal, it could be informal. That will depend on the question. For instance, you could be asked to write a letter to your uncle or your father or your brother. That's an informal letter. You remember that from primary school, isn't it? Then for the formal letter, you could be asked to write a letter to your lecturer or your bursar or your registrar. Now that will be formal. So that's for the task 1. Then for the task 2, it is the same for both academic and general. You'll be asked to write an essay giving your opinion about something. It could be that you'll be asked to give an opinion about an argumentative essay. Maybe you've been told boys are better than girls. You could be told to speak for both sides or speak for one side and give your reasons for why you picked that side. So it could also be an essay that you'll be asked to just talk about a topic. Let's say talk about the importance of holidays as a Nigerian. Just an example. Now, your work is to talk about the importance of the holidays in Nigeria, giving good examples. So task 2 will just be for you to give your opinion about something for the writing section. In the speaking section, there will be 3 major parts, and I'll discuss that later on. There is the part where there's introductory part, there is the conversation part, and there's a long turn. Long turn just means you talk for a longer period of time without any interruption. You'll be told to talk about a topic, and then you talk about it for a long period of time. Let's say about 90 seconds, 2 minutes. Then the normal introductory section, you could just be given 45 seconds to answer, and then there'll be a conversation. You'll be asked questions. So let's move on from this slide. We took too long here. Okay. Now let's take a closer look at the listening section. I've mentioned this before. There will be conversations and lectures. Those are the formats. You need to pay attention when you're listening. Be very focused. There's something called active listening. Active listening means as you are listening, you are thinking about what you are hearing and you are taking notes. Basically, that's it. You are taking all the key details because it's not everything that is important. Take note of the key details. I can't do that here, but maybe when you register as a student with test A's, I'll teach you how to take notes of the key things because not everything is a key detail. Then note taking, make sure you are listening and writing. You are not, your brain is not so great that you can remember every word in a recording. Then time management. The listening section is very difficult to the time. It's not easy to answer it, so you need to learn how to manage the time as well. Then we've discussed the reading section. You have 3 long texts that you have to read and answer. IELTS writing, you have task 1 and task 2. We've discussed that. Then I said the speaking section, there's introduction and interview. There is a long turn, and there is the two-way discussion. Now, this is where the part I've been waiting for. Now, in the IELTS exam, there's something we call band descriptors. Band descriptors refers to the score you'll be given and the description of why you were given that score. Now, the listening and reading have the same rating for band descriptors. However, the writing and speaking have unique band descriptors. For the listening and writing, in fact, for the whole IELTS exam, you'll be scored from band 0 to band 9. Band 0 means you did not do anything. You didn't even write anything in the exam. That's band 0. Now let's start from band 9. Band 9 just means you are an expert user of English. You can pay attention and you can command English very well. Band 8 means you are very good at English, but there are times you make just rare mistakes, very rare mistakes. Mistakes like maybe you did not understand what the question was saying properly, or maybe you did not understand the certain meaning of something and you made a mistake. For instance, let's say you see the word like for instance in Nigeria the word flash. Flash means to call somebody and hang up, right? But the actual meaning for flash is to open your clothes and let somebody see your nakedness. For instance, you hear people saying he flashed at the camera. So that's the actual meaning of flash. So let's say you hear in the recording that the girl flashed the man. Some people may think that they're saying a cold and anger, but that's not what it means. So there are times a user can misunderstand that. Then a band 7 user is also good with English, but once in a while, they also make mistakes. But their mistakes are more frequent than the band 8. I think that's clear. Their mistakes are more frequent than the band 8. Now, band 6 also, you have a general effective command of the language, but there are some inaccuracies here and there and inappropriate usage. Inappropriate usage just means some people use maybe some phrases wrongly. Maybe they use some grammatical words wrongly. So that is band 6. Then band 5, you're not very good with English, but you try to speak well, but you're not very good at all. For instance, you can cope with speaking with people, but you're not very good in making very constructive or very complex sentences. You can talk normally in day-to-day conversations, but you're not very good in terms of making huge constructions. Then band 4, you are a limited user. This is a person who makes a lot of mistakes, a lot. If I don't know how many of us have met someone who probably makes a lot of mistakes when they speak English. Maybe they use past tense when they should not use past tense. They refer to a boy as she. They say she's there when they're talking about a boy, or when they say he have taken it instead of he has taken it. That is band 4 when you make a lot of mistakes. Then band 3 and band 2 are almost the same. These are people that they only speak English maybe once in a while. Notice our grammar that they only struggle to speak English when they are speaking to their grandchildren. Those are the band 3 and band 2. They are very, very limited. Then band 1 is a person that cannot speak English at all. Maybe he just knows go, come, yes, no, food. That is a person who is not a speaker of English normally. So that's for the listening and reading band descriptors. Now, for the writing band descriptors, it is different. When you're writing your exam, have these 4 things at the back of your mind. You are being tested on these 4 things. So if you understand them, you are 30% ready. You are 30% ready if you understand this already. So pay attention. Now, the first one is task achievement and task response. Task achievement and task response means you've been given a question. Did you answer it completely? Let me give you an example. The question says, Nigeria's politics is a dangerous game. State whether or not you agree with this statement. Give reasons and examples for your opinion. You've been told to do 3 things. Give your opinion. Give reasons. Give examples. If you state your opinion without giving reasons for your opinion, you will score less than band 7 under task achievement. If you fail to give what's it called now? Examples, you will definitely not get to band 7. Just don't bother. So you must pay attention to the question in the exam hall. If when you see the question, identify what you are being asked to do. There are times they will want to trick you. They can tell you to, for instance, boys are better than girls. Give reasons why someone may think boys are better than girls. Give reasons why someone may think girls are better than boys. Then state your own opinion. 3 things. First, give reasons for why you think some people will think that boys are better than girls. Secondly, give reasons why some people will think girls are better. Thirdly, give your own opinion. Don't tell us who you support from the beginning. It is maybe in the third or fourth paragraph that you now give your own opinion. Remember, for each reason that you give examples. For each point that you give a reason. I think boys are better than girls because boys are stronger. I have seen boys carry lift heavier things than females over my lifetime. Now, that is number one. Your point: boys are stronger. What is the reason? You've seen. What's your first point? Boys are stronger. The example: you have seen boys carrying heavier things. So ensure you tick all the boxes. Now, coherence and cohesion. Coherence and cohesion means the way you write. Is it easy for a person to read it and understand without reading 2 times or 3 times? I don't know how many of us have been reading an article and you're like, what's this person saying? Now read again. For those of us who are teachers, there are times you mark essays for your students and you're like, what is this person saying? Then you read and read and read again. That means they do not have a solid level in coherence and cohesion. Coherence and cohesion just means how logical are your ideas arranged? Are they arranged properly? Now, let me give you a tip here. Whatever you do not forget to write in paragraphs. Because if you don't write in paragraphs, forget about band 6, band 7. Even if you wrote the best article, nice words, brilliant English, well-constructed sentences, if you don't write in at least 4 paragraphs, you've missed it. Because one of the ways we know that you are making sense is that you have put 1 point per paragraph. Let's say you have 2 points. There will be your introduction, then followed by the paragraph that contains your point 1, followed by the paragraph that contains your point 2, then the conclusion. There are times where you write 5 paragraphs, and that's because you have 3 points. Introduction, point 1, point 2, point 3, conclusion. Ensure you write in paragraphs. And there is no number 1, number 2 in the IELTS writing section. No, you don't number. You don't use bullet points. Paragraphs only. Are we here? If you're learning something, please say I'm learning something in the chat box. Just indicate that you're getting something. So let's move on. Lexical resource. Lexical resource is another band descriptor that one does not just acquire in a short time, because we learning new words. Lexical resource just means how strong is your vocabulary, how much phrases do you know, how many idioms do you know, how many words do you know. Now, you're not being told to come and speak unnecessary big words. But there are people that, for instance, let me give an example. When you were in primary school, you were taught pronouns. There are people that do not use pronouns. They refer to somebody as she when it is a he. Some people use the same name over and over again. Shade is a boy. Shade did this. Shade did that. They don't know how to use different words. Like she is a girl. The girl did this. Using different words. That's what you are being tested for in lexical resource. Do you know idioms? Not just common idioms now. Do you know idioms? Um, I don't want to talk about idioms here. I have a video on my YouTube, on the YouTube channel, where you could just watch. Um, I think it's a video on 30 idioms. You could watch it to learn as many idioms as possible. Of course, if you register for the tutorial, we will discuss idioms as one of the classes under the English aspect of the tutorial. But so let's focus. Idioms, phrases, transition words. This applies both to queries and cohesion and lexical resource. There are transition words that we must learn. For instance, almost every Nigerian. Now, this is something I want us to do. If you are guilty of this, in the comment section, I will not continue until you say yes. How many of you like to say so, so, so? They now said so. When I was going there, so every Nigerian says it. Unless you've become aware of it and you stopped it consciously. But almost every Nigerian says so now. So now, in fact, the now is not even now anymore. It is now. Okay, I'm sorry for joking about that. I used to do it so. In fact, from time to time, I still catch myself doing it. But of course, in a formal setting, I try my best to avoid it. So you need to learn alternatives to those so and now. There are transition words and cohesive devices that you must learn when you're going for this exam, especially in the writing and speaking sections. The speaking section, you'll be tested by somebody who has a band 9 level. So the person is trained to know when you are when your lexical resource is limited, when you only know few words. Some people will cram idioms and they will start using them wrongly in the test. So you must be trained thoroughly on how to use idioms and where to use them and where not to use them. Then lastly, grammatical range and accuracy. Our time is fast spent with, I think in 5 minutes would have used 1 hour. To be honest, IELTS is very broad. I'm just trying to touch as many things as possible so we don't, so you gain something. So even if you don't register, you'll be sure of how to study. With these things, if you can learn as much as possible, like I said, I'm recording and I will upload it to the YouTube channel. You can always rewatch. So if you can learn these things and you go and build on it, your band 7.5 is sure and above. So now let's go on. Grammatical range and accuracy. This refers to your ability to not just spell correctly and not just to make correct sentences, but also your ability to string sentences together. Some people can talk for 1 minute and to just be one sentence. This is a very bad sign. Some people will say so and you say like 4 ands in one sentence. When does your sentence end? You need to learn how to use complex sentences where necessary. You need to learn how to use compound sentences. I don't think I can explain complex and compound sentences here. I'll make a video on that in the YouTube channel on the YouTube on the YouTube channel. In fact, that will be the next video: complex and compound sentences. So you need to learn how to use them and how to use simple sentences as well. But make sure in your writing, your sentence is not too long. Because if it is too long, it is already bordering at the level of lack of coherence and cohesion. But at the same time, you must learn how to rearrange sentences. Can you bring your adverb to the front? Can you rearrange your sentence? In English language, there's something called SVOC. I can't talk about that here, I'm sorry. SVOC, okay, let me just talk on it. SVOC just means subject, verb, object, and complement. There are times when you can rearrange that. It will be ASVOC or SVOA. Now, that will be discussed in the future in class. But the point is, these are the 4 things you'll be tested for in your writing section. All right. Let's move on. I hope I'm not rushing, but I'm trying not to keep you for too long. So um, now, just like the other listening and reading, you're also tested from band 0 to band 9, but it will be based on these things I just talked about: task achievement, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy. So you'll be given scores on these four band descriptors. Let's say you have a band 9 in task achievement, you have a band 8 in coherence and cohesion, you have a band 7 in lexical resource, then you have maybe a band 8 in grammatical range and accuracy. Then the examiner will add these four together and divide by 4 to give you a total band score for writing. Are we learning something? The examiner will score you based on each of these band descriptors over 9, add them together and divide by 4 to give you your score. Now, the way IELTS works is that it rounds up to the what's the word now? To the next one after. So let's say you have this band 7. Let's say you got 7.6, you'll be given 7.5, band 7.5. Even if you got 7.7, you'll be given 7.5. There's nothing like 7.2, 7.3. Is that 7.0, 7.5, 8.0, 8.5, 9.0? So be careful. Try your best to aim for an 8.5 or 9 in each of them. Now, having a band 9, I'm not going to promise that if you register with test 8 that you will definitely get a band 9. 1 month will not give you a band 9. It's very difficult to get a band 9. And it's not, when I say difficult, I don't mean it's impossible, by the way. I'm just saying that it takes a lot of preparation and time for you to achieve a band 9 level of speaking. A band 9 level of speaking or writing means you're an expert at English. You don't make mistakes. And the mistakes you make, if they come at any time, it's very, very, very rare. All right. For instance, it could be if you have a slip of the tongue, that's a mistake, but it's not something that anybody can make anybody can have a slip of the tongue. For instance, I say I went, or I don't know what kind of error, what kind of slip of the tongue. There are slips of the tongue that we can have and quickly correct, so that will not affect your score. But if you are making mistakes frequently, if you're having slips every time, then it will affect your score. So basically, you'll be tested from band 0 to band 9. Like I mentioned earlier on, band 0 means you didn't do anything at all. Band 9 means you're the best. So I want you to aim for a band 8.5 or band 9. Now, the speaking section, the band descriptors for the speaking section. There are four band descriptors for the speaking section. We have the fluency and coherence. We have lexical resource. We have grammatical range and accuracy. And we have pronunciation. Fluency and coherence means when you're speaking, people can understand you. And you are making sense. Because there's people that when they talk, you'll be wondering what they are saying until they get to the end. You won't know what their point is. And if you're not patient, you get angry. You'll be like, okay, what's your point? Explain. What are you trying to say? So you need to learn how to speak in a way that someone knows your point from the beginning. For instance, let's say you've been given a question. Start by saying your opinion of that question. Or maybe you're writing. We're talking about speaking. Yes, let me just give an example for speaking. Like I talked about boy versus girl earlier on. You can start by saying, I am of the opinion that boys are better than girls in every manner. I'm sorry to the ladies in the house. The example is not really my opinion. I'm just using an example. Before somebody tags me as a what's the word now? A patriarchal person. So back to what I was saying. Now, if you listen to what I said, I started by saying, in my opinion, boys are better than girls. No matter how distracted you are, when you hear that beginning, you know that what this person is about to say will be points to back up the introduction. You can say, in my opinion, boys are better than girls. One of the reasons I think boys are better than girls is that boys are stronger. Then I give my reasons. Now I'm going to the next point. Also, boys are better than girls because they are more helpful in the home. Now, I started my next point with also. I can go on with a new transition was the third point. Furthermore, boys tend to carry on with the family name. So I'm just giving you examples on how to speak properly and arrange your points in a coherent way. Make sure as a listener, your speaker or your examiner can know when your first point started and ended, where your second point started and ended, and where your conclusion is coming in. That's the meaning of fluency and coherence. Then lexical resource, the same thing as writing section. Can you use insert words? Can you be flexible? Can you use idioms? For instance, let's say somebody says, let's say your examiner says, what do you think about Nigeria's election? You can say, I'm of the opinion that the Nigerian election is like beating a dead horse. This is because I believe it's a futile process which would definitely be rigged. So I use an idiom there. I said like beating a horse, a dead horse. What's the point in beating a dead horse? Will he wake up? No. So it's an idiom. Or you could say it's like forcing a horse down the stairs. That's also an idiom. So you could watch the video I talked about earlier on. You would learn more idioms. Then grammatical range and accuracy. The same thing. Can you make error-free sentences? Then pronunciation. This is the part many Nigerians have issues. Can you pronounce words correctly? Can you pronounce sounds correctly? Can you pronounce sounds and to not sound like, for instance, I have tutored some people with strong accents, and that's not a problem. Accents can never be a problem in the IELTS exam. But at times it affects their pronunciations. For instance, I think this man I know is from Anambra. He pronounces R as L. So he says, Bailo is, I want to give me your Bailo instead of Biro. Or lane is falling. Now, those kind of people require more focus. When I'm tutoring them, I have to, in fact, not just them, every of my students will learn each consonant and vowel sound, and we learn how to pronounce them properly and try to remove any mother tongue interference. I have a video on that on my YouTube channel, on the official channel, so you could always go there to watch. It's titled Mother Tongue Interference and how to pronounce sounds correctly. So pronunciation is very key. Okay, so we have a few slides to go. Now, let's take a look at some of these tips. For the reading section, the passage is always very long. So you want to learn how to skim and scan. Skimming means looking quickly over the passage and knowing what the idea is. Do you know that with skimming, you can know what the main point of that passage is without actually reading it from beginning to end? There are techniques to skimming, and like I said, even if you don't register with us, if you can go and read on these things, you will do well. You can go online. What is skimming? How do I skim? Or what is scanning? Scanning means looking for a specific thing. There are ways to scan. Scan, you just quickly look through and you can find the answer immediately. But scanning is only made possible because you have skimmed at the beginning. So remember, skimming and scanning is very important for the reading passage. Then we have question types. In the reading section, you will have question types like multiple choice questions, where you'll be asked to pick A, B, or C, or D. And there's a true, false, and not given. You'll be given a passage and a statement. Your work is to tell us if that statement is true based on the passage, or if it is false based on the passage, or if it was not mentioned at all in the passage, that's not given. Then there's a part where you'll be asked to match a sentence to another thing. You'll be asked to match a particular question to an answer. Like you have a cursor that you can drag and then pick the answer. Then finally, short answer questions. This one requires training because it is not easy to write in short answers. For instance, you could be told in less than 3 words. You could be told in less than 3 words, answer this question. And the answer in the passage can be like a whole sentence. You need to know how to summarize. Sometimes they could say in 2 words, say this, or in 3 words, what is the answer to this question? So that's under the question types. Then time management, time is not on your side, that you'll be reading slowly. Then vocabulary enhancement, please and please. In fact, it's not even optional. If you register with Test Ace, every week you must show me the article or the essay that you read. Because vocabulary development is not something you learn in one day. If you remember in primary school, every time we do a comprehension passage, our teachers will always give us about 10 to 15 words from that passage. As a student in Test Ace, or in fact, forget Test Ace, as a person preparing for the IELTS exam, learn to read every day. Pick up a newspaper and read articles. Write down words you don't know. Check the dictionary. Learn new words. Because if you just cram words in the exam, you will use words wrongly. So don't cram words. Learn new words. Have a broad vocabulary. Because it will help you beyond IELTS. When you go abroad, don't hear people speaking and you're like, I don't understand. Can you say that again? No. Every member of Test Ace gets there's a particular PDF I'll be giving to you. It's free, but it has to be for our students. It contains about, I think, 300 words that you can use in the IELTS exam. But I only give it to students midway into the learning, into the month that we'll be teaching, because I don't want them to think that they have to cram it. I'm giving it to you so you can learn it, understand it, and use it generally in life. So let's move on from this section. Now, the writing section, understand your task. I've talked about this. Before you answer, understand what you've been told to do, so you don't fail the task achievement section, band descriptor. Understand your task and do what you've been asked to do. Don't do more, don't do less. Do what you've been asked to do. Next, organize your ideas. Organize your ideas so it is easy for your examiner to score you and understand what you're saying. If you're just joining, you're welcome. We've gone a long way, but like I mentioned at the beginning of the class is recorded, and I'll be sharing the link on the official Instagram page. It will be on our YouTube page also. So all you have to do is to click the link and watch from the beginning. So don't worry, you've missed a lot, but don't worry, you can always watch the video. So let's move on. Now, use formal academic language. I beg you, in the writing section, use only formal language. Let me give you a tip. When you're writing in formal language, you don't abbreviate. Are you with me? You don't abbreviate. You don't say, I can't do this. You say, I cannot do this. You don't shorten words. You don't say, I'll do this. You say, I will do this. Like I'm giving you examples. Do not use short forms. Especially, for instance, in the writing section, for general English, for general IELTS rather, in the letter, even if it is formal or informal, don't use slangs. Slangs are not allowed. I beg you, because your examiner may not know the meaning of that slang. The examiner may not be a Nigerian, especially in the speaking section. At times, the speaking section will be an online interview with somebody who is probably a European. So you don't want to say Jackpa or is giving. Avoid those things, please. I beg. If you get a band 8, it helps me too. When you get a band 8, I can celebrate you and say, I have a student who has gotten a band 8. So I'll be happy if you avoid those things, please. Then time management is key. Time management is key. Then speaking. When you're speaking, don't form. Speak naturally. Don't try to You're not giving a speech to the whole world. Speak naturally. Don't try to pronounce words like a European. You're not a European. They know you're not a European. If you were a European, they will be testing you. So just speak naturally, but don't make too many mistakes either. Now expand your answers in the speaking section. People make these mistakes. If I ask you why is a boy better than a girl, don't start listing reasons. A boy is better than a girl because of this. A boy is better than a girl because of this. No. Give one reason. Explain it. Give another reason. Explain it because you have a short time. You don't want to talk for too long and not make sense. Pick a point. Let's say you have 45 seconds. Pick 2 points. Talk about introduce your response first. I think boys are better than girls because of the following reasons. Firstly, boys are this. Why I think this is that I have experienced this, and this. Secondly, boys are better than girls because of this, and this. Ensure that you expand your points. Don't just be listing. And when you're expanding, use transition words. Furthermore, also, therefore, consequently, just try to use just try to expand your answers basically. Now the listening section, take notes, focus, develop your techniques, and check your answers at the end. Now vocabulary expansion. Read widely, use flashcards. Flashcards just means maybe you learned a new word. Write it on a paper, put it on the wall of your room. In fact, I don't know how many of us watched is it Aquila and the Bee? I can't remember the exact movie. But when you learn a new word, you put it on your wall. As a student, you can have a whiteboard on a board on your wall. Write it, put it there. In the morning, read it, you memorize it. If you do that, if every morning you learn 5 new words, there are applications for it. You can download applications that will give you new words every day. Learn it, practice it, and then vocabulary list. I'll give you that when you register, or if you know you're not registering, you can go online, check for words that will help you, or check for places where you can get words that can help you improve your speaking and writing. Oh wow. Okay, so let's quickly run through. Of course, mock tests are very, very important. If you can find a place where you do a mock test, please do it. For everyone who registers with Test Ace, we run mock tests for every one of them twice. Once in the middle, once at the beginning and once at the end. At the beginning, because we want to know your strengths and where we should focus on for you. And at the end, so we'll know how far you've progressed since you joined us. So that's basically it. Now, to get resources, so if you know you don't want a tutor, you can always go to the official IELTS website. There are some practice questions there. The IELTS preparation books. When you join Test Ace, you get a free test book, and I promise you, if you have that test book, just don't worry. If you read it, you don't need any other material. I promise you. Even personally, there's a particular test book I use, and when you join, everybody gets it for free. It's quite expensive. It comes with strategies for each section. It comes with practice questions. It comes with mock tests. It comes with recordings that you can listen to. So don't worry. When you register, you get it for free. And online courses. That's what we do at Test Ace. Online courses and tutorials. We teach you live, and we also provide you with videos. Those are the courses. We record the classes and we provide them to you so you can watch them anytime. So even if you work during the day, you can always, maybe you are sleepy and you can't attend the night class, or you can't attend the weekend class, maybe you went to a party or something, the videos will always be available to only you that registered on the Telegram group. Now let's rush through. I want us to end this before 9 o'clock. Now, common myths about IELTS. Number 1, native English speakers don't need to prepare for IELTS. If you are a person who is social media savvy, you would know that all those Europeans cannot speak English fluently. You'll be surprised. I have a student currently who is currently in the UK, and I'm taking the person on IELTS. I don't want to speak badly of the person, but being a European or a person from England or America does not mean you're excellent. So don't mind them. In fact, Nigerians speak better English, and that's why when we go there, we surprise them. So that's a myth. You can't improve your IELTS score with practice. You can, and we can help you do that with practice, with feedback and evaluation. You can. Then IELTS is easier than other English tests. Well, it depends on your strengths. IELTS is actually not as difficult as some. I also take TOEFL, and to be very honest, TOEFL is difficult. When I teach my students, I ask them to register for at least 2 3 months. In fact, 3 months, because TOEFL is integrated, but it doesn't mean IELTS is easier. IELTS is the standard exam for most schools. TOEFL is usually for American schools, but IELTS is not so easy. Then the listening test always uses British accent. No, it can be any accent. It can be British, it can be Australian, it can be North American, and it can be even Nigerian. Um, you need a British American accent to do well in the speaking section. No, that's not true. Any accent you have is fine. Don't mind anybody that says you must form accents. It's not true. Then you must write complex sentences to score high in writing. No, complex sentences can help, but don't be so engrossed in writing complex sentences that you don't make sense. All right. Now, myth 7, you can't ask the examiner to repeat a question. It's not true. You can ask the examiner to repeat a question if you did not hear it properly or you did not understand it. You can say, please, could you repeat what you just said? That's in the speaking section, not in the listening section. Then myth 8, only grammar and vocabulary matter in the speaking test. We've discussed what matters. All right. So let's proceed. The last myth. The reading test requires you to understand every word. That's not true. You can't know every word. Even if you're a professor, you can't know every word. So please don't mind anybody that says so. You can understand words in context, even if you don't know the word before. If you read the sentence, you can have an idea and answer the question. So you don't know every word. But don't worry, with proper tutoring, you can know as many words as possible. All right, so that's the end.
So I tried my best to squeeze this into a short time. So I hope we did not use up to the 2 hours I talked about or I mentioned at the beginning. So this is the end of the IELTS preparatory class. If you have questions, comment in the comment section or send them to my mail. I will definitely respond. And now let me tell you about the test aids tutorial. Now at test aids prep, what we offer is a 16-hour class. Now the truth is, now I'm saying this because you've watched the video. I won't say this to all my clients, but the truth is it's way more than 16 hours. 16 hours is just to give you a standard time frame for the number of classes. We'll be having 16 classes in a month. Now, each class should be 1 hour, but the truth is, at times it gets 2 hours, 3 hours. But we try our best not to exceed 3 hours because of people who work and people who have other things to do. For the first 1 hour, we do the standard class. Then for people who want to leave, they can leave. But for about 2 hours, 3 hours, we ensure we are detailed and we teach extensively. So if you say 2 hours or 3 hours per class, times that by 16 days, so you're getting way more than what you're paying for. Now, so the 16-hour preparatory class is supposed to take you from at least a band 6 to a band 8.5. I won't promise you a band 9 because band 9 is something that I won't say unattainable because many people have attained it, but not everybody can attain band 9 for several unique issues. There are people that their accent just affects their speaking, for instance, or some people who just cannot improve in terms of the because of some errors that some people make in the listening section. But I'm assuring you, from a band 6 to a band 8.5. Now, in this tutorial, you'll be given a free textbook and free practice questions, as many as possible. You'll be given practice questions, you'll be given a free textbook. The free textbook, you have this choice to decide whether or not you want a hard copy or a soft copy. If it's a hard copy, you give us your address, we send it to you. If it's a soft copy, we send it to your mail, and it's going to be specially for you. You will have access to practice questions, you have access to audios, and they all will be given to you the day you register. There is, apart from the physical one, obviously. The physical one will have to be given to you within the first 7 days after your registration, because we need to get it to your location, wherever you are in Nigeria. Now, the price you can see here is 150,000, which is the standard price for our classes. I mean the tutorial now. But if you're going to be having a private class, I recommend you send a mail to us, and then we'll discuss, and then we'll give you a price based on your level. We'll give you a test, definitely, and the test will help us determine what level, what band you're currently on, and how much classes you should have. Now, usually, let me just be transparent. What we do is, for the tutorial, for the private tutorial, you still pay 150,000, but we advise you on how many months you need. So if you need 2-3 months, we tell you, we are honest with you. It's now up to you if you want to have 2 months, 3 months, or 1 month. It's up to you. We won't force you, but it's 150k per month. Now, I've still not decided yet, but I'm thinking of a discount of 20k, so everybody pays 130k. I've not decided. It could be 30k removal, it could be 10k, it could be 30k, but definitely it's going to be above 100k, because obviously we need to pay our tutors, and obviously we need to do other things that are necessary for this tutorial to remain at the highest standard, for it to get the premium level of teaching. So now, what do we offer at the tutorial apart from these things I've listed? You're going to be getting peculiar classes for each of the tasks. That is, how to answer the question types, the skills you need to answer them. You'll be taught, you practice with the exam, with the tutor, and that's that for that section. Also, you'll be taught English language. I like to separate them, because I told you at the beginning, this is not just a test of English, it's a test of your communication skills. So you'll be taught how to answer how to do the test, how to answer the test, and how to answer everything. That's separate. But then you'll be brushed up on your English at 4 basic levels: grammar, phonetics, that is speaking, semantics, and lexicology. Lexicology covers your vocabulary. Semantics covers meaning. So grammar, semantics, which will be very useful for your writing, phonology, and lexicology. So the classes should be divided into 2. The necessary skills to master how to answer the questions and the task, and then the English language skills you need to improve on. So that's basically what we are offering. So for now, it's 150k. Watch out on our page. If there's going to be a discount, I'll let you know. And depends on our partners. If our partners can help us subsidize, pray for us. We'll